The following program is a Perils for Pedestrians special presentation.
Alex Haley believed that we should find the good and praise it. This is the inscription on his gravestone representing his epitaph. Well, I personally think it's good to walk, it's good to bike, it's good to enjoy the journey as well as the destination. I see people in this room who daily stretch forth their insight, use up their energies and resolve to find the good, to praise it, to also find places where good not yet abounds and to make it happen there. Doing those things that add to our quality of life, that enhance our liberty, and that aid us in our pursuit of happiness. I'm here today to say many, many things, but to clearly say one thing, because it encompasses all other things that I've said, and that is that this Department of Transportation wants to be an even better partner with you as you carry forth your work and as you carry forth a very powerful message. This Department of Transportation recognizes, as you do, that transportation is about more than concrete, asphalt, and steel. And we want to help you as you help Americans in their pursuit of happiness. So again, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for the many things that we've done in the past together. And let us know that if we continue this great partnership, the best is yet to come. Thank you.
We're in Richmond, Virginia, talking with Anthony Jones, who's Executive Director of the Endicott Community Association. What is the Endicott Community Association?
The Endicott Community Association is a grassroots organization of neighbors working together. We don't live very far from here. This is our neighborhood. This is a park. This is our park in the neighborhood, and we've been together now for about 10 years. And our purpose is to do whatever we can to help make life better in our inner city neighborhood.
Lots been going on here today. What's been happening?
Well, for one thing, I've been worked almost to death, but I've enjoyed it. What we've had here today is a bike rodeo and traffic safety festival. It was a result of a partnership with the Department of Motor Vehicles and the grassroots organizations such as ours. This is the first festival of its type in this community, and as well as this is the first grant to be given to a grassroots organization in the state of Virginia, and we're rather proud of that. And this today has been a family event. A family event where families can meet together and kids can have a good time and learn about traffic safety, learn about public safety. It was a great way to bring the private sector together, the public sector together. I think we've just had a great time today.
And you had a lot of different setups all around the park.
Absolutely.
What were some of the different activities going on?
Well, we had actually 5 events. We had Radio Disney to come be with us tonight. We had a free cookout for all the kids and their families. We had a traffic safety tour. We had a poster coloring contest. And we had free giveaways throughout the day. Bike helmets, school supplies, and just a little bit of everything. Tide's Dirty. I'm sorry, I forgot to remember Tide's Dirtiest Kid in Richmond. We had a lot of great events today, so we had a pretty good time.
And you mentioned the grant you got was a little different than where'd the money for this come from, and how'd that work?
Well, this money actually is money that the Federal Department of Transportation doles out to states. And states use this money as a means of affecting life in the community. But DMV chose to use their money a little bit differently in this particular instance. What they were looking for was not just a 501c3 organization, such as United Way, that sort of thing, not at that level. What they wanted to try to get to was the deepest level possible, or the most basic level, which was the neighborhood. They knew about my experience in working with neighborhood communities and my activism in the neighborhood community, and they approached me about 2 years ago with the prospect. We took about a year of actually going through the community, finding out what the community want, what the community's needs were, and it became quite obvious that the community needed some more training, for lack of a better term, in very basic public safety types of things. You know, how do you correctly install a child seat? Well, we had a booth over here today that talked about that. Wearing your seatbelt, how to drive through a work zone. As you've driven through the neighborhood yourself, you see there's a lot of construction going on. Inner city kids are notorious for not wearing bicycle helmets. So we gave out close to 350 bicycle helmets today. So those are the kinds of things that we talked about, or things that we did today. But we also found out some things that we didn't know. For example, we had originally asked that the fire department come out and do the child seat training, but we found out that they couldn't do the seatbelt training because of the liability issues, and plus the training was too costly. So, as a result of this festival, we were able to overcome that barrier by simply talking with the folks at NHTSA and say, hey, look, if you want to do this, you want to do this right, there are some barriers that you have to get out of the way first. So it helped the federal government level, it helped the state level, and it certainly helped us here on the local level. So we were not only able to affect change and have some fun, but we were able to educate the public and have some fun too.
We're talking with Jackie Grimshaw, who's coordinator of Transportation and Air Quality Programs of the Center for Neighborhood Technology in Chicago. What is the center?
The Center for Neighborhood Technology is a 22-year-old public policy advocacy organization, and we work in the areas of transportation, air quality, land use, community energy, sustainable manufacturing, and we have a research and development division. And our goal is to work in to make sure that urban neighborhoods, urban communities are sustainable for everyone and that they work for everyone. And so we have a public policy component, a market component, and an information and dissemination component, so that once we invent new tools for communities to use, that we can disseminate them widely.
One of those new tools is the location-efficient mortgage.
Exactly.
What is that?
The location-efficient mortgage is a mortgage product that recognizes that when people use public transit, they live in high-density neighborhoods, high-density in the sense that they can walk to local amenities, they can walk to the grocery store, they can walk to the cleaners, they can walk to the daycare center, that they can take care of their needs of everyday life without having to get into a car, that there is a substantial savings. And we take that savings and add it to income for the purpose of qualifying people for mortgages. So it makes being a homeowner much more affordable for people who otherwise wouldn't qualify, have the opportunity to become homeowners through the location-efficient mortgage.
So how many places are trying this out now?
Right now, we have a location-efficient mortgage program in Chicago, in Seattle, in San Francisco Bay Area, and in Los Angeles.
How much difference can that make if someone doesn't need to own a car in terms of what you can finance for a house?
Well, and the averages vary slightly among those four cities, but in Chicago, for example, given the average cost of housing and the average income, that we're talking about a state or additional homeowner being able to qualify for $40,000 additional, and that's a substantial savings because we have figured out through a very complicated model what each of the location-efficient values, the savings for every address in the city of Chicago, in fact every address in all four of those cities and areas, so that we can say that if you live in this place with a family income of Y, that you have a potential savings of Z dollars, and that average in Chicago is about $400. And so when you say, for example, you have an income of $2,000, that means that to call it in the mortgage application process, you have a credit of income of $2,400, $2,000 plus $400, and that $400, can translate into somewhere around $40,000 additional house.
How many more people will be able to afford homes as a result of that?
Well, in Chicago, at any one time, we have about 6,000 to 8,000 properties for sale, and we think that we can easily qualify. I should say that one of the limitations on this mortgage is that Fannie Mae buys these mortgages for the secondary market, and Fannie Mae has a limit of the amount of mortgage they will buy, and that's $252,000. So that if you mortgage more than, or you get a mortgage loan for more than $252,000, it's not impossible, but it's more difficult to qualify for this product. So that's one limitation. And so we think that we can qualify at least 1% of that 6,000 to 8,000 properties as a location-efficient mortgage product, and that's conservative.
We're in Lexington, Kentucky, talking with Camille Powell, who's a physical activity coordinator for the Lexington-Fayette County Health Department.
Hi, John.
What's happening here next week?
Next week, we're going to have Walk Our Children to School Day, and this is an event where the schools with the highest percentage of walkers, they'll receive $500, and then also the winning school will give a healthy prize to the student body.
How many schools are participating this year?
Our goal was 10, and we've got 12 schools participating.
What role do different groups have in coordinating the event?
Well, we work with Parks and Recreation, and they helped us, for certain schools, they helped us pick the certain sites so where the students can all meet and they can walk. We work with someone from Fayette County Public Schools, and he helped notify the schools. He helped us with the media. We're going to go on TV and talk about it to try to get people participating. We work with our mayor, Mayor Pam Miller, and she's going to walk. We work with someone from Bike and Pedestrian Coalition, and they're going to get the council people, our urban county government, our local council people to participate. So we had a lot of community involvement. We got sponsors. We've got one from Bank One. We've got the Kentucky American Water Company. They also sponsor the event. So a lot of community involvement.
And you also did this last year. What's different this year from last year?
Last year was our first time doing it. We only had 3 schools participating. We only had 2 weeks to plan it. What's different last year from this year is that last year we didn't have sponsors. This year we have sponsors. Last year we didn't work with the PTA. This year we are. And really the success of Walk Our Children to School Day in each school is going to vary depending on the effort of the PTA. So really how successful the walk is at this school or another school just depends on how much the PTA has put into it.
Okay. Any lessons this year for next year?
Oh, for next year, we're going to try to get the sponsors early because it was really hard to get community sponsorship because everyone has their own deadline. We're going to do maybe our publicity about it a little bit differently because some of the PTAs stated that they didn't hear about it. So we have to be careful that everyone hears about it, everyone has a chance to participate. So next year, just do our publicity, our media, maybe a little bit differently, and really start working a lot sooner on getting sponsors. And that's about it.
What are the children going to get out of an event like this?
Well, outside of just the great physical activity and spending time with their parents, they're going to really get to be a part of a real school-sponsored event. Because, for example, a school like Russell, inner city schools, sometimes parents work. They don't get a chance to really participate in a school event or get to participate in an activity with their children. So what the kids get out of it is they get to spend a little extra time with their parents. They get to see their parents participate in a school activity. And then they get a light and healthy breakfast because each participating school, all the schools that are participating, they provide their walkers with coffee or juice or just a muffin or something, just something to make the event extra special.
We're in Silver Spring, Maryland, talking with Imani Kazana with the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. What do you do for the department?
Well, I'm an urban planner, and I am a liaison for the Live Near Your Work program.
What is the Live Near Your Work program?
Well, it's a very unique program. I believe it is the first of its kind in the country that is operated by the state. It's a partnership between the state, local jurisdictions, and employers to create incentives for employees to buy homes in older revitalization areas near their workplaces.
What sort of incentives are you able to provide?
A cash incentive, actually. The employer provides $1,000, the state provides $1,000, and the local jurisdiction provides $1,000, which then equals a $3,000 cash grant to the employees who are willing to participate and buy homes close to their workplace.
Now, what sort of areas do you select for this? Where are you trying to get people to live?
Well, by virtue of the Governor's Smart Growth Program, which is an effort to direct attention and resources to older areas of our state, areas that we call revitalization areas and priority funding areas that have been defined, by the way, by the local jurisdictions. It's not dictated to by the state, but in cooperation with the local jurisdictions. We have, over the past 3 years, 4 years, defined what those proper revitalization areas ought to be and where we would like to direct employees to live.
Now, what are the benefits to the state and localities and employees by a program like this?
Well, the state and the local jurisdictions are clearly trying to see increased home ownership rates, stronger neighborhoods, less traffic out on the roads, less of an instance of people moving out and creating sprawl situations in the state, which is a very costly from a tax perspective. We're trying to, accomplish many things with this program. Now, for the employees, there are a lot of benefits, including cutting down on their commute time, spending more time at home, greater tax benefits with internal revenue and their income tax returns. They can spend more money on themselves and on their families as opposed to in the car driving back and forth to work. And they're helping the neighborhoods get stronger at the same time.
How big is the program now?
Well, the program's been in existence for 3 years, and we've made about 100 grants each year over those 3 years. So we've done over 300 grants to over 300 home buyers at this point. And we're growing a little bit every year, and we hope that it will get much bigger before it's over.
We're in Sylacauga, Alabama, talking with Greg Holtzclaw. What was it like walking around when you were a kid?
That was the most viable mode of transportation that we had as kids growing up, was walking. And everywhere that we had to go, whether it was school or town or to visit friends on the other side of town, that's how we got there.
What are the challenges like for kids trying to walk around your neighborhood nowadays?
Well, for children to get around now, the things that we used to enjoy, they're so much farther away. And there are so many more vehicles and things on the road that walking is a very hazardous mode of transportation. And I think many of our parents are truly concerned for our children to walk to and from because of these many hazards and the time involved in trying to get to the many places that they try to go. And even when it comes to needing a ride, there are not a whole lot of vehicles in the community, especially in our church area. So it makes it very challenging for the young children to get around town, which it wasn't a problem for us because we could walk and it wasn't as hazardous.
How about for other people in the community, the older folks or folks that don't have cars?
Hey man, it's the same problem, and even though in the area that I grew up in, there are many seniors that now could and would walk, to many of the businesses downtown, but so many of them have moved away from downtown, out into the growing area on Highway 280, which is, where our Walmart Supercenter is and many other stores. So the opportunities to shop at different places are limited. And then, the idea of getting to Walmart is a very, very challenging task as well, because again, we find them having to get a ride from, whoever, even if it's their children. Many of them are working during the day and the time that we would normally be shopping, so they can't really get there. And what has happened in my church home, we've we've started a transportation ministry where, there are people in the church that use their vehicles to take people to town, and they end up having to sit and wait on them and, take them to doctor's appointments and things of that nature. And that's one of the ways that we've helped, try to eliminate the problem of transportation. But it is very challenging.
What sort of facilities or stores does the community need nearby that would help people have more of what they need on a day-to-day basis within walking distance?
Amen. Well, we know the grocery stores, and there were times that, there were a couple on the side of the town that I'm talking about, but, one of them are gone away, and then, the one that's left, the longevity of it really, several of them have closed throughout. So we don't know when that's going to close. But even department stores, the place like a Walmart or Kmart, if you don't mind me saying that, yeah, where you can go in and get all these items, and you just don't have them. You have some, what I consider low budget places like that in, the Super 10, the Dollar General and things like that. But, a little greater quality of a product, you just don't have those type stores. And then there are many times when you go in those looking for something and you can't find it, and you may be able to find it in a Walmart. So even though you make a trip to town, you're not able to get what it is that you really went for. The post offices, the doctor's offices, and I know we built a high rise, but even it is a challenge getting to it based on this location of where many of these people live.
Now, what situation with the community and the new school they're building? How's that going to affect children?
Well, it's a real concern for me, because if we expecting those children to walk to school, there's no way that they can go without having to either negotiate a railroad track and all of the gravel and the rocks, which is a hazard, or what I consider a major thoroughfare, which is the old Talladega Highway, and it's just not acceptable. And we haven't really talked about how we're going to get them there, but they're going to have to come up with a means. That rail line could, as I've spoke with Joel Cochran many times, a rail line that runs and from one end of this city to the other, it could become a trolley system, or a rail system that could cover transportation for the people that we just talked about, as far as getting out of this area to the town and through all the shops, and even out to the Highway 280 where Walmart is. It travels close enough to it that they could exit it and go shop and then come back on it. But it'd also be a great opportunity for transportation for our children that have lost two schools out of their communities, and now they got to fight with the trying to come up with a means to get to and from school. It's going to be a burden on parents, because now these children that used to take 10 or 15 minutes, even when they're playing, it's going to take them half hour to 45 minutes to get home. And then from the time school is out, and a mama wondering, where's my child? So we're going to put them in some real stressful situations. So it's really challenging. And like I said, we haven't talked about it. I haven't heard it talked about how we intend to get those kids to school. And somebody may say, well, it ain't that many. It might not be but 80. But 80, that's 2 times a day. That's 160. That's 5 times a week. They got to go there for 3 years. So when we come up with those numbers, that's a whole lot of times that those kids got to travel back and forth, and the opportunities for one to be hurt or injured or whatever, it greatly increases, because we're making that trip so many more times.
We're in Washington, D.C., talking with Dr. Georges Benjamin, who's Executive Director of the American Public Health Association. What is the association?
Well, we're the oldest and largest association of public health professionals in the world. We have over 50,000 members.
What is public health?
Well, public health is the science of large communities. It's population-based health. So if you think about it, when you go see your doctor takes care of one patient at a time, and often when you get sick. We in public health are about the business of taking care of people both before they get sick and after they get sick, and looking at it from a community-based perspective.
And you say you're the oldest. How long have you been around, and how has public health changed over the years?
Well, we're over 133 years of age, and the biggest thing about public health is that certainly the science has gotten better, but what has not changed about public health is that the simple things make you better, make you healthier.
Simple things such as?
Clean air, clean, safe food, and water that's safe to drink. Those have made the biggest differences in the health of the public. Now, certainly, vaccines have made a big difference, and that's important, and certainly the invention of antibiotics has helped as well.
What's been going on here in Washington this week?
Well, we've been spending the last actually 5 days talking about public health, sharing the newest science, advocating for more funding to make communities healthy, advocating for more partnerships to make communities healthy. The biggest issue, our theme has been around the environment. And so we've been talking about things such as smart growth and smart communities. That means building communities so that they're more walkable, that you can ride your bike in. We've been talking about the tragedy of the fact that kids cannot walk to school like they did when all of us were growing up. And we talked about the problems and the fact that we're not pushing physical exercise more in school. So we've really been talking about ways in which we can really improve health overall.
Why are things like kids walking to school important to public health? What's the implication if they don't?
Well, the biggest implication, of course, is that they gain more weight. Obesity, which is one of the most important epidemics of our time, is increasing. So kids are not going to be as fit. They don't get as good cardiovascular fitness, so they're more prone to heart attacks and stroke, to high blood pressure, and certainly they just don't feel as well.
So looking forward, what's the future of public health?
Well, one of the things that's a conclusion of this meeting is that the future of the public health is extraordinarily good. It's hopeful, it's exciting, and what happens every year is that we get re-energized to go out and do that, that good thing and that good fight to try to really just work to get everybody convinced that a little bit of prevention today solves a lot of problems in the future.
Visit us on the internet at www.pedestrians.org.